What is up, everybody? This is Podcast Gameoverse, episode 089 for Saturday, December 18, 19. Oh, you know what? Actually, today's my birthday.
Oh, shit. Happy birthday.
So I was going to say 1990. And that is not what the year is right now. It's 2021. I am Wasabi Ice Cream, joined by my dude Rick. What is up?
What is up, man? Happy birthday to you. Shit.
I forgot. Yeah, I was saying that, and I was like, I slipped into 1990 there. I was born in 1990, but yeah.
Man,
I
well,
don't like
happy
celebrating
birthday.
my birthday. I just want people to leave me alone on my birthday. I don't want anyone to bother me.
I'm the same
Uh,
way. If I can get the day off of work and just hang out at home with no one bugging me, that's a
get
good
off of
birthday
work
to
on your
me.
birthday.
Huh?
Get you get a day off on your birthday.
No, but I'd
Oh.
like to take a day off.
It was like I broke my arm. I'm not coming in today. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
um,
that's a perfect birthday to me. If I can get the day off and just hang out, nobody bug me. Perfect birthday.
yeah. Guys, this is a video game podcast. We talk about video games here. We do this live on Gameoverse.com, Gameoverse.com/Twitch, Gameoverse.com/YouTube, Gameoverse.com/Discord. You can actually jump in there. Got a whole thing. You just chat to us. We chat back. If you can't catch us live, you can go to Gameoverse.com/podcast. Leave us an email. We'll read your email and clown you live on air.
Yes, we will. So today's gonna be an interesting show. We got some good topics to touch on, some good shit to talk about. But let's start how we always start, man. Tell the people what you've been playing. You played Pray for the Gods yesterday.
I did play that.
Yeah, what'd you
And
think?
so the thing about this game is that it's been floating around in, I guess, various forms for a while now, like at least like 2 or 3 years. So I've like always known about it. Especially they came across their original name was Praey for the Gods, but they had to change
Yeah,
it to Praey for the Gods, even though in the title screen it's still Praey. Uh, but in getting together the notes for the podcast and just looking through trailers and stuff, came across this one, and I guess I didn't realize that this game is a Shadow of the Colossus
yes.
mixed with Breath of the Wild kind of survival elements,
Hmm.
and I had no idea. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, what? How much is this game? Like, $25. $25 on
Yeah,
Steam. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm buying this, and we're just gonna play this then, because Shadow of the Colossus, one of my favorite games all time, masterpiece. If
yeah,
you haven't played it, you're fucking up. Uh, and then like you mix that with Breath of the Wild, it's an interesting combination.
yeah.
And
It's a very good combination. It makes sense. When you put those two things together, it makes sense. You could
yeah,
easily put Shadow of the Colossus style monster climbing combat in a Breath of the Wild, and it would work.
yeah, and that's exactly what they did. And I got to give this game a lot of credit. I think it works better than it works better than Zelda does in Breath of the Wild. That might
Yeah,
sound a little weird, but the thing about Breath of the Wild for me was that it was a great like exploration adventure game, but I didn't feel like it was a great Zelda game, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah. I had the same criticisms on it.
I think Shadow of the Colossus works so much better in that entire with all those mechanics.
Yeah. Any
And
highlights? Anything that stands out that can back that up?
uh it gives you, well, it's the climbing. It's the climbing aspect, and it's also like now I will say this game is it's very indie. It is, like I said, it's a $25 indie joint. So there are some kind of missteps, not missteps, but some things that I was like, oh, you kind of got to improve on this. Like, you still, there's like a bunch of survival shit in it. So basically, it's the survival stuff in the like cold environments of Breath of the Wild that they really, because it all takes place in like it's all super cold and you have to stay warm, you have to eat, and you have to sleep, and it's all stamina management, just like Shadow Colossus was. But if you don't eat, then your stamina depletes faster, and you can't eat while you're climbing. So you kind of have to go into every encounter prepared. But here's a main difference between Shadow of the Colossus is that Shadow of the Colossus you had to fight every boss in order.
Yeah.
So you kind of weren't incentivized to explore very much. But in this, which I didn't know until I just stumbled upon one, you can fight the bosses in any order. It tries to guide you in an order. It'll highlight like, hey, in the sky, here's a big light beam where the next boss is. But you can kind of just go wherever you want and explore stuff and collect stuff and craft. You can upgrade all your equipment. There's actually smaller enemies in the world, unlike Shadow of the Colossus, which had nothing. This game has like smaller enemies and you can kill them and like take their materials and their equipment and upgrade your stuff, which is really cool. But I feel like the smaller scale combat isn't that great. You don't have many options in terms of like blocking or uh so that was like I kind of felt like skipping the combat, the smaller combat stuff was like a better option in most cases because they don't always drop stuff either.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but I remember playing Shadow of the Colossus a little bit on PS3 when it got that PS3 remaster. And I remember being surprised, like I didn't get into like any small fights. Am I remembering that right? Like the original Shadow of the Colossus didn't have like any small
It had
fights, like
nothing.
all the combat was the large monsters. Okay.
Yeah, it just had the 16 colossi, and you had to fight them in order, and that was it. Now, the only reason to explore in Shadow of the Colossus was to get like if you like found like rare fruit in the trees, you can collect those and get a health upgrade. And then there were like lizards around the map that had glowing tails, and you can kill those and eat those for a stamina upgrade. But that was it. And I think in the remaster they added some like other stuff you could find as like for achievements. I think they ended up doing that for the remaster, but other than that, it was nothing. So I like that for this game, those survival elements actually incentivize you to kind of wander around and explore a little bit. Because if you just go straight into a fight, like I did with, I killed the first two bosses pretty easily, and then I just ran straight to the third boss, thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna fucking get through all this," and it just didn't. I didn't. It was difficult. It was difficult because I didn't realize. First of all, like Shadow of the Colossus, they're all like puzzles. And I kind of forgot that while I was doing this. All the bosses are like their own puzzles, so you have to figure out what you need to do to even like get on top of the motherfucker. And this game doesn't tell you like you can't like lift your sword up and like find out where all the weak spots are. You actually have to start climbing them, and once you get close to the weak spot, then it tells you, hey, this is where the weak spot is. So you don't even know where the weak points are until you like start climbing it. So it
That's
just
really
made,
cool.
yeah, it made it a little harder. But
I like that though.
so I was like, I'm just gonna run around and explore for a little bit, and then while I was doing that, upgraded each piece of my equipment. You get like shoes, a shirt, pants, um,
Mhm.
and like you get a glider so you can like glide and stuff. There's no fast travel, so that was a thing. I had wandered so far away that I was like, oh, I'm never gonna make it back there to where they to where the next boss is. But then I just started exploring more, and I stumbled into another boss that just wasn't even made clear to me. So then I started fighting that, and I actually ended up being able to kill that one, and it was just super fun. Just like wandering into that situation like that. Um, I'm trying to think what else. It's like it's better than I thought it would be, to be honest. Because
I've heard good things about it. Like it's been in early access since like 2017, 2018, and honestly, like you said, I forgot it existed
yeah,
until recently. And it's cool that it's living up to the hype it tried to set up, and it took some inspiration from Breath of the Wild, which I don't even think was out when this game was first being developed. So it's really, really cool to see that. And like we've talked about before, like Breath of the Wild is such a cool game to like steal from. I wish more games would do it.
yeah,
And to see this game do it is really, really cool. I'm glad you liked it. I might check it out now or just play the original Shadow of the Colossus. No, they did a PS4 remaster, right? I think I'll just pick that up because I haven't
yeah,
played it. I need to sit down and play it already.
yeah. If you've not played that, it's incredible. Now I will say the feeling this game has, it's very
Yeah,
different than the feeling of Shadow Colossus, but it's got a bunch of like weather effects that are very impressive, like blizzards and winds and storms and stuff. So you got to kind of take shelter and build a fire. Some of the fire
yeah.
stuff was a little weird because you build a fire and you just throw it on the ground. Like I haven't figured out how to cook anything properly yet. Like there's pre-made campfires that you can go to, and that's where you can do like your crafting and resting. But you can also just make like a little makeshift fire. But she just like throws them on the ground, and then they just kind of sit there for a couple seconds, and then it just goes away. So like, and then you can throw your food into that as well, just on the ground. But I've never been able to successfully cook anything without burning it just by throwing it on the ground like that. I don't know. A lot of the mechanics they don't really explain. There's a lot of icons and stuff they don't explain. There's a lot of stuff that just like you kind of sit there and go, how do I do this? And I guess it just wants you to experiment with stuff, but I don't know. I found it a little frustrating, especially like trying to figure out how do I sleep? And it doesn't tell you that until you actually you find and pick up a bedroll, and it's like, hey, you can use this to sleep. And I'm like, oh, okay, that would have been nice to know. I've only found one of those and still haven't used it. So, but yeah, there's a lot to this game. I don't even think I've seen most of it yet, but um, it only has half as many colossi. I don't know. I don't even know what they call them in this, but there's only 8 of them in this game, where Shadow had 16. But
With the game that's like probably had like a fourth of the budget Shadow did, the fact they could fit 8 like monsters in there is still impressive.
yeah,
But yeah, that's really cool. Anything
I think
else you've been
the
playing? Like
stream is
this is
choppy right
honestly
now.
on my list. Like I'm gonna check this out now.
The stream is choppy right now, uh, but I think I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm recording in 4K, so um, it should be okay for now. I'm just gonna roll with it.
All right, no worries. Um, but no, this game looks really good. Anything else you've been playing that you want to talk to the people about?
I think that was it. Uh,
That's it.
I played Psychonauts 2. I'm like right at the end of that. I was like streaming it the other day, but like I don't
Yeah.
know, Twitch exploded or something, and it wasn't going through. So I just played it on my own, and I'm like right at the end. I'm like right at the end boss fight. I think it's like warning me like, hey, if you go, you better be ready. And I'm like, okay, this must be the end. Though it said that like twice now, and it wasn't really the end. I don't know. So I don't know, but I'm at the end. I think so.
Oh. Um, I haven't been playing a lot. There is a game I've been playing that I keep forgetting to talk about every week, and it's I actually picked up Azure Striker Gunvolt a couple weeks
Okay.
ago on sale on Switch. Just because those of you who don't know, it's a Mega Man X inspired 2D platform side-scrolling action game. It was developed by Inti Creates, the same developers that made some of the Mega Man Zero and ZX games, and they also worked on what was it, Blaster Master Zero too, right? They did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do some good shit. And I played Azure Striker Gunvolt. It was on sale on Switch. It's a collection that came with the first 2 games. And I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning, I fucking hated it. I did not like it in the beginning. I did not like the way the game felt. I didn't like the combat system because it's you're not just jumping and shooting. Like when you shoot, you tag enemies with these darts. And those deal damage, but the max damage you can do is with your Azure Strike, I think is what it's called, which is basically an attack when you hold the right bumper, you cover yourself in lightning, and enemies that you tagged get chained to that lightning attack, and it deals damage to them. And the game's on a performance system, so if you tag multiple enemies and kill them all very quickly, you get bonus points for that. And at the end of the chapter, it calculates your score and gives you a lettered ranking. And at first, I didn't like it. I was like, this doesn't feel good to play. I don't like. Why can't I just jump and shoot? Like I was really like pissy about it. But then somehow in the second level of the game, I don't know what happened, but something just clicked. And I started to play the game the way it wanted me to play. And something, I don't know, I can't explain what happened, but something in my brain, like a switch flipped, and I went from not getting it to getting it. And it became one of my favorite 2D platformers. It's a lot of fun. If you play the game the way it wants you to play it, you can have a blast with it. The lightning ability isn't too overpowered because even though you use it, there's an MP, like a charge meter, think of it like your MP that lowers when you use it. If it drips all the way down, you have to wait a long time for it to fill back up. So the damage you could do is very heavily affected. Some attacks, if enemies do certain attacks on you, you can block them with this lightning shield thing. So there's a lot of elements that use it that are really creative. It even slows down your fall speed if you use it. So you can use it for some tricky platforming sections. And there's an ability if you double tap down, you instantly refill it, but you can't do that if you let it drop all the way to 0. So there's a lot of management with that system that I don't know what happened. I hated it so much in the first like level, 2 levels, and then something clicked and I loved it. And there's different weapons that affect how you can tag people. So the starting weapon I think only lets you do 3 tags, and enemies, the more tags you drop on them, the more damage you can do, up to a max of 3. So I can hit one enemy 3 times to do max damage, or I can hit 3 different enemies one time and do minimal damage, but it's to all 3 of them simultaneously. And you unlock other weapons that, for example, give you 5 charges, but it's a slower shoot speed. But you can hold it, you can charge, you can pierce through multiple enemies in one shot. And there's another one that shoots in different directions, but you only have like 2 charges. So it's really creative. And it lets you swap between the weapons simultaneously. So you can kind of pick the weapon for the job. And there are challenges you can take on. So let's say you beat a level. You can take on a challenge. It's like, oh, beat the level in 5 minutes, beat the level without getting hit. Beat the level and finish the boss with a special move, which is like another thing that's introduced in the game. It's good. Like it took me a while to get into it. But once I got into it, I really, really, really liked it. And I'm a fan of the series now, and I really, really want to play some of the later games now. But this is a lot of fun. If you like Mega Man X or any of those other high speed 2D platform action games, this is seriously really, really good. And it might not click with you in the beginning like it did with me, but once you get the hang of it, you start playing the game by the rules it's designed. It's a lot of fun. Have you ever played it? Because I know you played a couple NT Creates games. I don't know if you played this.
I played this. I streamed it once, which is like the
Yeah.
crazy thing about that was that like the one time I streamed this game, there were like 80 people watching in the chat uh, for this game. I'm like, what the fuck are all these people coming from? I guess just to watch this, but I felt the same way. Like it wasn't hitting for me at first. It's like when it was like 80 people in there, I was like, well, I gotta play this for these people who want to see this. And I don't know, it wasn't hitting. I don't think I got uh, as far as you did to where it clicked for you, but not that I hated it, but it was just like I expected something little more jump and shooty, you know. But
Yeah, exactly. That's what I expected. And there's a lot to it that when you take that jump and shoot element out of it, it's disappointing initially because that's what I went into expecting. I thought I was getting Mega Man X with a different name, and that's not what it is. It's very similar in the control system and jump. You can jump off walls and stuff like you could in Mega Man X, but this whole tagging system and the lightning chain system, I can't remember what they call it in the game. I think they just straight up call it Azure Strike. But point is that once you get into it, you start playing the game the way it wants you to play it, it's gonna click with you, and it's really fun. There's a bit more precision involved with it than there is in Mega Man X. In Mega Man X, you can just keep shooting, and there's no penalty to missing. But with this, if you miss that shot and you're trying to do that like lightning charge, the damage you're going to do is very limited, especially if you want to stack all 3 charges and then deal damage really quickly, move on to the next enemy. Like, there's a lot of focus in it that wasn't required in Mega Man X, and I think that's when it clicked for me that I need to be a little bit more accurate in how I'm shooting. I can't just randomly shoot and then focus on avoiding shots like you could in Mega Man X. You have to focus on getting those tags, doing that lightning strike, keeping that meter up, because once that hits 0, like, you're fucked. It's so the time it takes to fill all the way up, and you're pretty much like defenseless while it's doing it. You want to keep that up, and making sure to double tap. If you're fighting a boss and you just finish off like a boss attack, you want to double tap down to fill up your charge again. This way, when he comes back for his next phase, like, you're ready to defend it. Like, it's really exhilarating. Like, once it clicked for me, and I really really liked it. I would recommend giving it another shot if you can. There's a weapon you unlock. I think it's on the 2nd level called the Naga, and that weapon's cool because it doesn't shoot as fast as the initial gun, but you can do 5 charges instead of 3, so you can tag a little bit more enemies. And if you hold it, you can do a powered up shot that pierces enemies and tags multiple enemies. And that's like my main weapon because it gives you the most charges, and it kind of fits that accuracy gameplay the game was going for a little bit better, in my opinion, than just
Yeah.
randomly shooting darts really quickly.
But see,
But yeah, I really liked it.
you like the kind of games where it's like you get style points for playing good, like
I
Devil May
do.
Cry and
I
Bayonetta.
do. Yeah, I do. I like games. It's a double-edged sword because I take those styles a lot more seriously than I should. So if a game like gives me a C, I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna play it again until I get at least a B.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can make games not fun for me. Like when I was playing Devil May Cry 5 during the last boss fight, I don't like to use items in Devil May Cry. So if I die, I have no problem like starting the whole game from the beginning because I don't want to lose points for using items. And my wife was getting frustrated because she was watching me play and she was like, "You keep getting so close to being that boss. It sucks you can't heal yourself." And I was like, "Oh, I can. I just don't." And it's the same thing with this game because like when you start to play through it and you memorize the layout, you can start. Okay, you're like, okay, let me try to do it faster. Let me try to find some of the secret items that are there. Let me take on some of these challenges so I can get some extra equipment so I can build more stuff. The game has a crafting system to craft more gear, so that's really cool. But you get those supplies from searching the level or taking on challenges, and they give you these crafting materials if you complete these challenges, and they're cool stuff. It's like finish the level with X amount of points, finish the level with a certain level at a certain speed, finish the level and kill the boss with a special attack. Don't lose points because another cool thing about the game is that it lets you play how you want. So there's 3 different difficulty settings, but they're not really difficulties. It's just a flex. So there's the standard one, which is safe, where you don't build. So when you get shot in the standard difficulty, if you get shot 3 times, you lose your multiplier until you hit the next checkpoint. So if you can get through from one checkpoint to another without getting hurt, you can bank all those points, and you can get a ton of points for doing it. But if you get hit 3 times, you lose that multiplier starting from 0 again, until you can bank the points. Now there's 3 different difficulties from there. From you can go down where you don't lose your multiplier at all, but the game, I think it limits you to like a C ranking if you do it like that. So it doesn't matter how many points you get, you're finishing with a C. And then there's the hardest one, which doesn't change enemy layout as far as I know, or damage taken, but it reduces that cap from 3 to 1. But if you do that, you get like double points. So you can bet your ass I ran through a couple levels with that to see how high a score I can get trying to beat. Like it's crazy, like how many times I've replayed levels because I want to see those numbers go up. I want to do those challenges. I want to get that equipment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So if you like that kind of game, this game's really good for that. If you don't like that kind of game, you can ignore it and just play through the story. The story's pretty interesting. But yeah, I was surprised, like how I was really frustrated at first. I was like, fuck, I can't return this. I bought it on Switch. So Nintendo's return service sucks, so I can't just take it back. But I played through it and I was like, okay, now that it's clicking, I fucking love this game. And I recommend like Wasabi for sure, dude. Just give it another shot. You know, try to play it the way the game wants. Once it clicks, like and you get it, it's a fucking blast, dude. Um, but yeah, so that's the main one I wanted to talk about. I'm still playing same old games. Neo 2, I'm still playing. SMT 5, I'm still playing. I'm getting a little burnt out because I've been rushing through SMT 5 a lot. I put a lot of time into it very quickly. So I'm kind of taking myself to other games like Azure Striker Gunvolt, kind of slow me down a little bit. 'Cause I don't want to burn myself out of SMT 5. I've also been replaying Grim Dawn again. Vanilla, not playing with any mods. And that's still a fun game. So definitely recommend that. We talked about Grim Dawn quite a bit on the show. It's fucking phenomenal. I'm actually playing to like some specific online builds, and it's like crazy, like some of the shit these people come up with that just completely change how the game's played. Um, but yeah, that's what I've been playing. Um, we have quite a bit to talk about in gaming headlines coming up right now.
Yeah.
One I'm really excited for is Kotaku article kind of brought up this discussion that Wasabi wanted to bring up with us. During a preview with Forspoken, during a preview for Forspoken, the new Square Enix game, the devs behind it kind of describe their black protagonists as really cringy ways. I haven't seen the preview, but according to the article, they reference the character's walk as kind of having a very hip hoppy kind of walk, which super cringy. They described the character as being very angry, fallen through cracks of society, on the verge of prison, which a lot of people kind of commented those are very aggressive black stereotypes to be putting on this character. And the Kotaku article talks about how like there really weren't any black writers on the staff writing this game, writing for this character. They said they had some feedback from the actual actress who is black to kind of give them some tips on the character, how her interpretation of it was. But it kind of sparked a discussion that should games or any media that features a black protagonist have black writers to avoid stuff like this. And this is a topic that I'm really interested in. Wasabi, what do you think? I want to get your opinion first, so I can kind of go from there.
Yeah. So, um, as a black man, if you didn't know, I'm black. Hi, hello. We just lost 12 subscribers. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I don't hear. Okay, so it's a yes and no, right?
Yeah,
When it comes to, I'm gonna speak about Forspoken specifically for
yeah,
now, because when it comes to this game, I really don't think that her being black has anything to do with the story they're trying to tell or
exactly.
what kind of character she. I think that they already had a story in mind for this game, but they didn't have a character, right? So they specifically said, I think in here or somewhere else, that they didn't have a character yet. So when the actress came to
The audition.
audition, they were like, "Oh, she's perfect."
Yeah,
Not because she was black, but I guess because she fit the mold of what they were trying to do.
yeah. She
Um,
just happened to be black, is the thing.
yeah, but they're
And
saying that her background is that she's from New York. She's had like
mm,
a troubled upbringing. She's poor and she's angry and she's like almost like in prison and shit like that. But I don't think it's because she's black. I think it's just because that's
yeah,
the character background that they wanted to make. I don't think they
Exactly.
were like
And
I don't think they were going through their heads like, oh, okay, so she's black, so she's poor, and she's a woman and a black woman, so she's angry, very
yeah,
angry. Like I don't think they were doing that, right?
yeah. I don't think
Uh,
they were doing that either. And it's not fair to like bring up those stereotypes of this character because if it was any other character, if this was like a Hispanic, well, maybe if it was a Hispanic character, people would still be pissy about it. But if this is a white character, nobody would bring up these stereotypes at all. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Nobody would bring that stuff up at all. And it's weird to me that because she's black, suddenly like they need to take her backstory under a microscope and look for microaggressions and look for the harmful stereotypes, quote unquote. Um, which I think is kind of counterproductive to do that. Because again, if she was white, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So it seems like there's this weird double standard. And you could argue, like, those stereotypes exist. It's important not to perpetuate them. But I would argue, I don't think they're doing as much damage as people are claiming they are. And it raised the discussion, like, if there was someone black who was writing this, they wouldn't have done that. Really? Like, you think so?
but
Like,
also
is it the
like
whole, yeah,
how black do we need to be before it's like, oh no, he's got 13%, he's okay, or like
exactly.
like when you start doing that, it's like, okay, like what the fuck, like what's the
Yeah,
cutoff
what's the
then?
end game? Yeah, what's the end
Yeah,
game here?
but
And that
even
that
if you were,
raises,
even if even
yeah,
if even if everyone making this, even everyone involved in this, if they were all black 100% and they had the same exact story, what would we call it out then? Would it still be harmful then, or would it still be troublesome then?
yeah, or would
Because
it be like an accurate representation of being
yeah,
black in
like
America?
a,
Like,
a bad a bad story is a bad story no matter who fucking writes it. You can write
exactly.
you can be a white person and write a good story about a black female. You could be a white male and write a great story about a black female. I mean, like uh,
That's the
Quentin
point of writing.
Tarantino. Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino is my favorite writer director in movies, right?
Mhm.
And he wrote movies like Jackie
Like
Brown,
Django. Yeah,
Django.
Jackie Brown, Django.
Uh, like these are phenomenal films, man. Uh,
Yeah,
like, what is he not allowed to? Is he harming black people by writing these things? I don't think so. Maybe someone thinks
exactly.
so, but uh,
Exactly. And I want to talk on the opposite end of the spectrum here a little bit, where as a writer, it is important to know what you're writing about. And as such, if you don't know something, either don't write about it or do your research.
yeah,
I think we could agree on that. And I want to take a step back and talk about a non-video game example. Um, I actually did some research on this when you wanted to bring up this topic. It's something I've wanted to talk about for a while. The Jeffersons is considered a groundbreaking TV series. It ran for 11 seasons from 1975 to 1985, and it even had a reunion special in 2019. And what makes it so groundbreaking is that it featured a predominantly black cast. And because it ran for so long, it's considered a hallmark in not just television history, but also black representation in media, especially from 1975 to 1985. Like, let's be honest, like black portrayal was not good then. And things people don't want to talk about with this show is that it had a predominantly white creator. Norman Lear was white, and the whole writing staff was all white as well. Because let's be honest, there weren't a lot of black writers in Hollywood in the 70s. That's just America's fucked up. That's what happened. But they didn't just shoot from the hip when writing this show. They actually sat down and talked to a lot of African American equality groups. They had talked to the Black Panthers about how to represent their characters. They had talked to the cast themselves if something they were writing was offensive or inaccurate. They had a lot of consultation and did a lot of research to make sure they didn't fuck this up. So I don't think it's more about they needed black writers. It's just they need people who know how to write that experience either from personal experience or from research. And it's something that's really important to distinguish there. Because, like you said, if it was the same story and the writing staff was all black, 100% black, we wouldn't be having this conversation for Forspoken. And it's weird to me to have to put this like check mark next to it to say it's okay or not. And the game's not even out. If the story's shitty, like we'll shit on it.
Yeah.
But it's weird for me to bring up that concept, especially since Spider-Man Miles Morales just came out last year, and I didn't see any
Yeah.
controversy about that. How Miles was
But they
written.
did it. The thing that Miles Morales did is they're set in Harlem, and
Yeah,
Harlem itself has a lot of culture. So that's the difference between like this game where it's this like what. By the way, the term isekai is getting thrown around a lot this year, in a way that is never getting thrown around.
oh yeah,
But like this game is like isekai where she's in another. She's not even in a world where they would care about race or social standards like that. So I think like for God damn it for Forspoken, I don't even think the color of her skin matters in the world that she's in. Maybe in the world that she's coming
exactly.
from, but for this game, she's in a world where it just doesn't matter, and there's just monsters and magic and shit. Like I don't think anyone gives a fuck in her world. So when you talk about like Miles Morales, that's a game that's very much set in this world, in the place that really exists, and the place
Yeah,
that has a
him
lot of
being black is
culture in it.
important to the story in Miles
Yeah, yeah,
Morales, where it's not the case in Forspoken.
yeah.
And that's something I wanted to touch on a little bit too, because like that didn't get any shit. And most of the writing staff for that was white too. Like, I actually pulled up the writers here. Uh Mary Kenny, white woman, and fuck, what's his fucking name? Oh, I lost it already. Um, hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. So there are three writers: Mary Kenny, white woman. Then there was Ben Arfman, a white man, and there is one writer, Evan Narcissi, who is black, and he actually wrote some Black Panther comics. Funny enough. So I'm
Damn.
sure like his input definitely helped with that structure of the character. But this is something, again, you want to write about what you know. And if someone does the research, I don't see what the problem is. And again, like you brought up, the main character do we have a name? Because I don't want to keep calling her the main character. Does she have a name?
Frey.
Frey. So Frey being black, like you said, doesn't matter to the story. And for people to bring it up like, oh, now that since she's black, what does that mean to the game? Is it going to be a black story? How When I hear stuff like that, it makes me think that people consider white to be the default, and anything outside of that needs to be justified. And that's a
Yeah.
little fucked up, in my
But
opinion.
they're discussing it with this game specifically in a way that they didn't discuss it with like Deathloop. Both of the protagonist and the main antagonist, they're both black. But no
Yeah.
one is like, at least from what I know, no one really discussed that, uh, which is interesting. I didn't even think about that until like just now. But yeah, both.
Yeah, that's something
Both
I didn't think
those.
about until you brought it up. And it seems weird to me to like cherry pick this. And again, like it doesn't excuse what the dev said, because shit like hip hoppy walk, that's cringy as fuck. Like, I'll be
Yeah,
honest, like
the
that's
motion
cringy as
capture
fuck.
guy said that. Their motion capture
The
guy
motion
said
capture
that.
guy said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Okay,
mean,
so the
I don't
motion
know
capture guy
if
said
you were
that.
describing. I'm not gonna fault him for saying something like that. If you were describing the way someone's walking, I mean, not many ways to do that. Or vocabulary for that. You kind of have to have, you know.
Yeah, so I'm not
But
gonna fault
it's
him too much on that either.
yeah,
There's a lot of worse things he could said. I'll just leave it at that.
yeah, yeah.
There's worse things he could have said, and I don't think hip hoppy walk is as like offensive as people think it is. I don't know. I'm not black. Um, So it doesn't offend me, but
I just don't know
it's
how I
it's
would say
weird to
it.
me. Yeah. It's weird to me to like just to see that because like again, like people wanting to nitpick, the writing here, putting it under fine tooth comb. I get it, you don't want this group being misrepresented. But at the same time, we wouldn't be having this conversation if the whole writing team was black. And this still
Yeah,
came up. We wouldn't be having this conversation. If the main character was white and with the same backstory, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Um, so it does seem to me that there's a double standard here that nobody wants to talk about. Again, like if the character was white, there's no problem. And suddenly now that she's black, there needs to be this fine-tooth comb that we need to look through with, or we need to put her under a magnifying glass, how she's written, who's writing her. Um, Again, that screams to me that white is the default, and anything outside of that needs to like have a justification or needs to be examined. And that's a little fucked up to me to think that. Growing up, like I watched a lot of cartoons, played a lot of games. Most protagonists were not people of color, when I grew up.
yeah,
So I think it is cool to see more representation here with that, and for people to like argue they need to justify why this character is black and oh we need all black writers. It seems counterproductive to me to do that. It's going to get in the way of progress, at least in my opinion.
yeah. I don't know. I just thought this was an interesting topic because
Yeah.
well, Kotaku of all places, like of course they would have some shit like this on
Yeah, they would. Remember when they got all pissy because like Spider-Man was working with cops?
their but
But Kotaku is the king of bad takes, so I'm not surprised they did an article like this. And
yeah, but it's not a terrible take. I think it's something
yeah,
worthy of discussion. It's just
yeah,
the I think the sentiment you walk away with this is that like if you're white, you shouldn't be writing a story about black people. But it's not a story about black people. It's just she just happens to be black. I don't think there's gonna be
yeah.
anything that comes up in the story where it's like, Frey, you're black. Why don't you enlighten us with some black stories?
Exactly. Like I
Or
don't
I don't
see
know,
that
like
coming up
maybe
either.
her background does come up like a little bit, but
Maybe.
I just don't think they're not writing that kind of story. It's just not. I don't think
Yeah,
her
I'm not
background
getting
has
that
anything
vibe
to do
from
with it.
this. And I don't know. It seems weird to me to like have that take because again, at the end of the day, a writer is gonna write and they're gonna write about stuff they know about. If they don't know about it, they're gonna do their research so they can do it.
Yeah,
And if it's bad, like we'll shit on it then when it's bad. But I feel like this like preemptively like shitting on it is a little counterproductive to me. Um,
like this
because
game.
yeah,
This game reminds me of ever since they first showed it off. It reminded me of another Square Enix game called The Quiet Man, where the
oh
main
that piece of shit.
protagonist, a game absolutely terrible fucking game. But from what I understand, it's a game about a deaf person who's really good at like fighting and shit. He's like has like superhuman. His other senses are enhanced because he's like a mute and deaf. So from what I understand, they actually consulted with deaf mute people. Maybe I don't know. They did some research and ultimately found out that um, that this is how they should convey the sense of being deaf and mute. But the game was fucking terrible. The story was fucking terrible. Everything about that game absolutely horrendous.
Yeah,
I don't remember anyone coming out and being like, "Hey, I'm a deaf mute, and this is highly offensive," or "You should really get some deaf mute people on your writing staff to." I don't think anyone did that. It was just a bad game, and we acknowledge it as a bad game, and we moved on.
yeah,
Uh, so if this game is bad, it just let it be a bad game. It's not bad because there were no black people there. It's bad just because the writing is bad, or like the game is bad, or whatever.
yeah. And I think that's what we should judge it on when it comes out. It is important to like observe your meter. If there was something genuinely offensive here, I think there would be more uproar and we would be able to point it out. But these quote unquote microaggressions that people are finding in there, granted, there's the hip hoppy walk thing. It's cringy, but I wouldn't call it like a microaggression. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm maybe coming from a different place. Again, I'm not black. My wife is black, so I'm not using that as like a justification. Just that's what it is. That's my
But
life. That's
I want
my
I want some
connection
more
with the black
opinions
community.
on this. I want people to
Yeah,
to voice. If you have any opinions on this, definitely go to gameverse.com/Twitch, gameverse.com/YouTube, gameverse.com/Discord, and let us know how
exactly.
you
Like at
feel.
the end of the day, I want to discuss this. So if anyone else, again, like you want to talk about it, send us a chat. Give us your opinion, give us your takes on it, see what you think. But yeah, I was really excited to talk about that one. I think we got our points across. Um, there's a funny segue here, but I'm not going to do it. Yes, I am. Speaking of color, I had to. I had to. PlayStation 5, we're getting new DualSense controllers with new colors
Yes,
arriving next month.
that was beautiful.
Followed by PS5 console colors, console covers. Sorry,
So
I had to. I had to. The
no, that was
segue was there,
beautiful.
man.
Yeah.
uh,
So yeah, they've got console colors now. Console cover colors now officially, which they're pretty late to the game on their own fucking thing here, but whatever. They've got three new colors: the for a dual sense controller, Nova Pink, Starlight Blue, and Galactic Purple. Not gonna lie, that pink is on point.
oh yeah.
I love the look of the pink and black, the Bret Hart colors. That's my shit. But the black on black is also dope. All the other ones not so much, I don't think. But
I know these look really nice. Like the pink on black looks really good. My wife like loves pink, so she would love that color. When I get a PS5, I'm gonna have to get her at least one pink controller. Um, but no, they look
but
really good.
so the thing about the covers is that they've already been third parties selling alternative covers now,
Yeah,
and so now Sony is trying to get into the game, but and also suing the people who've been doing this already. So I know D Brand was one, and they've got just some very good stuff written on their page about this whole thing. Uh, Let me pull it up real quick here. If you go to the
D-Brand
page,
makes some good shit, dude. They got like
yeah,
leather covers for like Joy-Con controllers. Like, there's some good. They got some good shit. They got some really good
yeah,
shit.
D Brand is great. I just don't like I don't like skins because I can never put them on right,
Yeah,
so I
same.
always fuck them up. uh, but these are actual plates though. These are actual full plates, so they're not skins. But their page says checkmate lawyers.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they got this whole thing. So what they had to do was they just had to like cut the corners off. So I actually think theirs look better.
I do too.
If you look at
It
the
looks
Sony
way
ones,
sleeker.
the Sony ones still have these wings on the top. And I guess to adhere to what the lawyers wanted, they just had to cut the corners off, and it looks better.
It looks way better. And they added vents to it.
Yeah, they
Like,
added ventilation to the sides, which wow, that's a no-brainer, Sony. Because they did come up with some issues of yeah, these things are kind of they're getting hot. So that's cool, and they also have LED strips along the fans in the front, which is dope. But throughout this whole thing, they have like little text that says, "Thanks, Sony. Do you have any idea how many lawyers we had to go through to find some that were willing to take on the dark plate cases? We'll give you a hint. The answer lies at the bottom of Lake Ontario. Turns out our new lawyers can handle either the murder charges or the dark plates file, but not both. So we may be a maximum security prison by the end of the year, but at least your PlayStation 5 would have indisputably original design." Uh, and then they
I love
go on
this.
with even more text. That's like it's. I think it's worth like going through all this, but their design, their D brand design, is just way better. It's way better,
Oh yeah, it looks so
way
much
cooler.
sleeker. It looks so much nicer. That matte black look is so nice. Like, yeah, everything about this is better. Like,
Yeah.
way to go, Sony. Like,
Sony's selling their covers for $55, and I think for just like a couple bucks more, you can get these cool D brand ones, and they have vents on the side, and are just a lot nicer looking. They have LED strips. You can kind of customize them. So I don't know.
if
I
you
think it's way
look
better.
at the option to buy them and pre-order them, they have the two side by side for the disc edition, the digital edition, and the descriptions are like, limited stock, 3 colorways, and not illegal.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of descriptions. Click buttons to get discounts. Fund our legal defense. Like, this
I
is
don't know.
fucking great. I love this. I love this. This is great.
What
But
do you want
yeah,
to keep
dude, like look at
saying
this.
that?
Like if you just get the straight dark plate disc edition, it's on sale right now for $59. So $5 more than what Sony is selling theirs for. Normal price is like 70, so on average like $15 more. And it looks so much better. It looks so much nicer. You could put
Yeah.
LED strips in it too. Like,
I mean, it looks nicer, but also it's gonna like give you a bit more performance because of ventilation.
yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe I don't know if a bit more, but it'll at least it'll keep you from overheating. Most definitely
There's some
has
cool
like
looking designs here, man.
better
Like,
features in it. So
yeah, I'm customizing one right now, and like that triple black middle skin looks fucking nice, dude. God, this looks so cool. Yeah,
yeah,
I love this. I love this. Kudos on them for like, all right, that's what you want. You want to keep your wings? Cool. Fuck your wings. We'll take the wings off and make a better design. Well,
yeah.
we'll make our own plates, blackjack and hookers.
I don't like the way the disc one looks. The disc still has that little bulge out the side. It just looks not great. I like
Yeah, it's a really weird looking design. I don't like that bulge either.
digital design.
But
I
yeah,
don't have a PS5
but whatever.
when I get one, which will be at some point, not soon, but definitely gonna get one of these plates.
But this looks good. Like like I said, I'm putting one together right now. Like dark plates with the black triple black middle skin and the red light strips. Fucking sexy as fuck. This looks nice. Okay. Yeah, enough cooling over this. Like it's cool. Like I love seeing stuff like this. Sony's gonna shut them down for what I think is I don't understand the legal thing behind it. They're making their own plates. They're not saying that they're associated with Sony in any way. Doesn't make
Yeah,
sense to me that Sony's gonna come after them.
well, I think it's mostly just the design itself. I mean, basically, if anyone should sue, it should be D brand because technically, I don't know how the legal shit works, but I mean, they were doing it first. Sony was not making these until just now, while D brand has been making them the whole time. So
Exactly.
I feel like they have more ground to stand on than Sony does, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I can see why they would back out though. Like the people don't have the money to fight these legal cases. Like
Yeah,
even if you're in
yeah,
the right, it's easier just to back down and concede than to go through a legal fight that they're gonna spend forever just postponing and delaying to bleed you
yeah,
dry. But yeah, it's cool. Finally, after God, this has been out for like what, a year? More than a year.
yeah. More than a
So
year.
finally, after more than a year, Sony's finally releasing some official plates and color skins. But
Like you thought
whatever.
they would, but not like I didn't think it'd take this long. I'm trying to see if they
Yeah.
have anything for Xbox.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at some of them too. I want to see what they have for like Switch. Because there's some cool shit in there. Um, Also, Stalker 2 is getting NFTs. Oh wait, no, it's not. Um, nah, jokes aside, like there was an announcement that Stalker, the Stalker metaverse, quote unquote, will use blockchain technology to let the community own a piece of Stalker 2 that includes the opportunity to become the first ever meta-human, which the article GSC Game World had written appears to define as a non-player character rendered in very high detail. Um, there's a lot of stuff behind this. People bidding to get this NFT, collect this NFT so they can have this meta human and become part of this bigger grand scheme. Blah 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 blah. Um, basically, oh, there's a lot of pushback on it because of course there was. Anytime NFTs are involved with anything, there's going to be a lot of pushback. Some of it justified, some of it not justified.
Yeah.
This I'm having trouble seeing what the problem is in this. Like people, I remember back in the day, like there were always like sweepstakes competitions, like get your face featured in a game or something.
Yeah.
I don't see how this is different other than the fact that now you got to bid on it and pay for it. I think that's where the line is drawn.
Yeah. See, I would
Um,
agree. I would agree that I don't really see the issue, especially since it's not like this whole thing, the meta human thing they're talking about, is not even in game. Really, it's like an out of game. Like before the game even comes out, they're doing this NFT thing, or they would have been doing this NFT thing to have you have a character in the game, right? That's whatever. That's
yeah, it's
completely
whatever.
separated
And
from
it's
the
not like it's
actual.
too out there. Like people paying to be in a game isn't new.
Yeah,
Like remember when Shovel Knight came out, certain backer, there's a tier. If you back to a certain tier, you can get your name or your character
yeah.
featured in the game.
I think I'm in that
I think
game.
there's like, yeah. Um, there's like two characters in Shovel Knight. Um, there's like two bosses specifically. The big guy with the whip and the makeup, I think he was like an original character that was bid to get in the game. And the thief guy with the boomerangs, I think he was an original character too that was
So
put into the game from a
but the
background.
problem here is that it's not that getting a character in the game. Like people don't have a problem with that. People have the problem is just any involvement with NFTs whatsoever. People were just fucking offended by completely. So much
Yeah.
so that they would like delete their entire Game Pass account because they don't want to fund it at all. And I'm like, that's a bit extreme, don't you think?
A little
But
bit. A little
uh,
bit. And the Stalker 2 devs have like doubled down, saying in a Twitter post that the studio needs the money to create and improve the game. It's like a financial thing. And then
yeah,
like the next day they said they weren't doing it at all anymore.
yeah. But so
Which is
okay,
funny.
if they the other problem is that what they're doing here doesn't need to involve NFTs whatsoever because
Yeah.
you can just bid off the character. You can just bid off the character itself, and I don't see why the NFTs need to be involved in this at all. Uh, like that's the other thing is that like we said last week with the Ubisoft stuff, it's that the technology is cool. It's what people are doing with it that are fucking stupid. And I think people have a problem disassociating that stuff, the disassociating the technology with the usage of the technology, and I think that's where the confusion is because the
I think so
technology is
too. And yeah,
what's that?
I'll continue.
Oh, um, yeah, because people keep doing stupid things with the technology.
Yeah.
They're associating the technology with being fucking stupid, which it's not. It's just people keep doing stupid things with it. And this is a very stupid thing because you don't.
Yeah.
It just does. It's not needed for what they're trying to do. They're just auctioning off a character, which you can just do that without any blockchain or anything. So
Yeah.
I think that's where people were. But then I don't even know if they're doing it anymore. I don't even know if they're doing the character thing anymore because of the backlash. Like the character thing is cool. Like there's nothing wrong with the character thing. There's nothing wrong with them trying to make some money to try to fund development, but they really haven't said one way or the other whether they're still doing that. Like they just said they're canceling the NFT stuff, which that's fine.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
damn,
fine. You can still
is
auction
it
off the
Billie Eilish's
character, and I
birthday
think,
too? Do we have the same birthday? My bad. I'm just noticing this Twitter. Go on.
yeah, I think a big part of the issue too is that it being an NFT kind of cuts off that idea from people who want to play the game. Because people who want, I don't think there's a lot of overlap. People who are excited for Stalker 2 and people who are in the NFT trading. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So at that point, releasing these NFTs just kind of limits it from fans of the game to like bros and their bots that just buy up these spots and bid over them. And I think that I could see where people would be upset with that. You know, people who maybe would have loved to have a chance to like fund the game and like bid on a character. Now that there's NFTs involved, they're not just competing with other fans. They're competing with like again crypto bros who
yeah,
have way more money and they see it as an investment. They're not trying to fund this game and get in there. They're trying to invest in an NFT. And I can see where people would be frustrated with that. And I think it's cool they backed out. Again, like you said, the idea of funding it to have a character own a character isn't a bad idea. It's just the NFT itself. It didn't have to be an NFT to do it. Again,
yeah,
Shovel Knight did that without needing NFTs. So it's weird that this game needs it. But we know why they did it. You know, NFTs are the cool new thing.
yeah.
But yeah, it's fucking dumb. And
I don't
I'm
think
glad
anyone.
they undid it. Yeah.
I don't think anyone understands how to really incorporate. Because I'm not against the idea of having some like cool blockchain shit in a video game, but it just depends on how you do it. Like I mentioned, like Forza Horizon. I don't know if how many people here are familiar with Forza, but it has this whole marketplace where you can paint every car in a game has its own store to where you can go and like paint everything. You can do custom paint jobs and then you can sell it in the in-game marketplace. But it'd be
Yeah.
cool if like I could do all that work and it'd be a custom paint job by Wasabi. This was a paint job by Wasabi and it's custom just for the Ford F-150. And if like you could incorporate like that as an NFT, and I don't think that would be a bad thing because it'd be one custom paint job, and then anyone can buy it and trade it, and it'd just be that one. And then every one I do would be a little different. It'd be something unique, and you could just keep selling it. And then me as the creator, I would get a little monetary kickback every time someone sold that or resold it. And like that would be really cool. I think just as someone who created something in a video game that's now getting shared, and it's completely unique and no one can ever imitate it or like stuff like something like that. That's kind of like the one real use case I can see with it. But like there's other stuff you could do kind of along those lines that would just be really cool. But no one wants to have the discussion of that. Everyone just has NFT bad. No way. And it's just I think it really just it just stifles any real uh progress we could ever see with this stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There needs to be a discussion about it. People just hear NFTs and they're just like, no, NFTs bad.
Yeah.
When there are, like, you're right, there's some cool shit that could be done with it. I don't want to write off the technology yet, but there is some cool shit that can be done with it. And we'll have to see if anyone does do it right. It just takes that one person to do it right. And we'll see
But
if that ever
it's hard
happens.
for anyone to do it right when if anyone does anything, it's already met with backlash before they even have a
Oh, yeah.
chance. It's like that's what makes it tough. And
Yeah, someone's just got to fall on that grenade and just, take one for the team to see if, it
but
can be
like
done.
Steam won't even
Backlash began.
Steam doesn't allow NFT shit at all. And I think even like Microsoft, like Phil Spencer came out and was like, "Yeah, we're not really supportive of that stuff." So I don't know. I don't know if anyone would ever. Maybe if they do it, it's gonna have to be like some indie shit on their own thing.
Yeah, we'll have to see if anything does come out of it, but we'll see. Anytime there's new technology, there's always going to be like some hesitancy, some backlash. So we'll see if something does come out of it. Um, Moving on from there, we got some new games available on Game Pass. There is actually a game on here I played that I forgot to mention, so I'll talk about it when we get to it.
Okay.
We got Among Us is coming out on cloud, Ben 10 Power Trip, cloud console and PC, Broken Age, cloud console, PC. Broken Age, fun game. You can play it on Game Pass, definitely do it. The
Great
first
game.
half, really, yeah, really fun, interesting point click adventure. Second half, kind of bullshit. You might need a walkthrough, I'll
Yes.
be honest. The second half, I don't know what the fuck
I
happened
was
with
gonna
that
say
second
that
half,
same
dude.
fucking thing. The problem is they took like a year or two in between. So I remember playing that first half and being like, "Oh, this is great. This is so much fun. I'm not having any trouble figuring this shit out at all. It's great." And then that second half came out, and you're like, "Dude, this is fucking crazy." Like all
Yeah,
the
I remember
puzzles in that
playing
were
it.
like, I need to whip out a pen and a pad and actually do some calculations here.
I had to
Uh,
fucking look up a walkthrough, dude. It was
yeah,
ridiculous. Fucking, I didn't need a walkthrough at all for the first half,
yeah,
and I didn't have like, I didn't have the problem you did. We're having to wait like a year and a half to get the second half of it. Like I got
yeah.
this on PlayStation Plus, and it was all done. So as soon as I finished the
Okay.
first half, I jumped right into the second, and I was like, dude, what the fuck just happened? I was like, what the fuck is going on? I needed a fucking guide by like the second puzzle, and I was like, this fucking sucks. I
But
almost
it's great though.
it,
It's great still. It's great.
it's still good. It's a fun story, interesting idea, interesting concepts. Um, I liked it a lot, but be prepared. Like the first
Yeah.
half, I would argue is like almost perfect. The second half, these puzzles get ridiculous. Oh
But
my
you know,
god.
I think it was like the people who are hardcore into those like point and click games, they probably had the opposite feeling of like, man, that first half was too easy. And then they like got that feedback and was like, okay, you think it's too easy, motherfuckers? Or here you go. Uh,
Yeah,
and
then
then
it
like
gets
flipped it.
ridiculous.
Yeah. But it's
It's still a
good
fun
though.
game though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a fun game, definitely worth playing. If you have Game Pass, go check it out. It's worth the time. You don't need a guide for the first one at all, but the second
Yeah.
one, yeah, definitely,
You can try
get
doing
on
it
board.
without a guide too.
You
Like
can try.
I
You can
got pretty
try. If you can
far.
do it, kudos to you. I
I
did
give
not.
myself a pat on the back for getting as far as I did.
I did not. I don't think I got very far in it. And if I did, like, I wasn't bashing my head against the wall until I decided to just swallow my pride and look up a
Yeah.
guide. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's worth looking into, at least just to try, especially if it's on Game Pass, man. All it's going to cost you some time. Um, Firewatch is also releasing Cloud Console PC. The Gunk Cloud Console PC. Lake Cloud Console PC. Mortal Kombat 11 is on Cloud Console PC, but I'm looking it up right now on Game Pass, on PC Game Pass, and I'm not seeing it. Maybe it just hasn't dropped yet.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, maybe it just hasn't dropped yet, but
As it did.
yeah, that's supposed to be out. Paw Patrol Mighty Pup Save Adventure Bay. Long fucking name, and you can play it on Cloud Console and PC. You got Race with Ryan, Cloud Console and PC. And then Record of Lodoss War, Deed Light and Wonder Labyrinth is also
Huh.
available Cloud Console and PC. I played this when
Okay.
uh when you put the notes out, not yesterday. When you put the notes out yesterday, I read through it and I was like, oh shit, that's on Game Pass already. So this morning, I actually booted up, played. I played it for about like 40 minutes, an hour, and I got some shit to say about this game actually.
Oh, okay.
I took a notes. I forgot to talk about it earlier, and we are talking about games we played. But I got some notes, motherfucker. Like
Damn.
this game wants to be Symphony of the Night, like really bad. You can tell from like the animation, the movements, the
Does it do the
controls. It wants
thing?
to be
Does it do
Symphony
the
of the Night.
thing where if you uh jump then attack, can you attack again immediately after landing?
Nope, nope.
Okay.
That sucked. But it does have a cool thing where you could aim in all 8 directions, and
Okay.
if you aim down and attack, it kind of holds you in the air a little bit. So you can jump on an enemy, aim down, and then just attack, and then kill them before you drop. So that's pretty cool. Um, but no, it doesn't have like that thing where like if you do a short hop attack, you can like cancel the animation attack immediately after.
Yeah.
But it does have some pretty cool stuff. You can find these. There's two spirits you could find. I think Sylph and Salamander, a wind spirit and a fire spirit. And the spirit, it kind of works like Cave Story, where if you kill enemies with that weapon, you can level up the weapon, then you get hit, you lose those levels. Similar like that with those spirits, but here's where the twist is. You get experience for the opposite spirit you're using. So if you're using the wind spirit, you get experience for the fire one. And if you're using the fire one, you get experience for the wind one. And when they hit level 3 at their max, they're doing the most damage. And you actually have a passive health restoration while it's at 3, up to your max HP. So that's really cool. Cool way to keep yourself healed. There's no potions in the game as far as I could see. So the only way to heal yourself is to have a level 3 spirit. You get hurt, switch to the spirit, and start healing yourself. And they have other little abilities too. So like if an enemy's hitting you with a wind attack and you switch to the wind spirit, it'll absorb that. Same thing with fire. And the wind spirit, if you hold the jump button, you'll actually have a cool little glide and you can actually fly around a little bit. It's a hover, so you can only fly. You have full flying movement, but you can only go so far off the ground while you're doing it. So that's pretty cool. So it's not like you can just fly everywhere. You can only fly up to a certain distance off the ground, but it's full flying movement. You can move up, down, left, right, diagonally, however you want to move around. So that makes some platforming stuff really, really cool. And the fire one, I was disappointed. It didn't have anything initially. I was like, oh, this is lame. Why wouldn't I just like have the wind spirit the whole time? And then partway through, I unlocked a slide kick, and that slide kick actually has a jump to it and invincibility frames if you have the fire spirit equipped. So that kind of makes me think like I'll probably unlock more abilities and they'll each have like spirit specific attributes. So that's really cool. And another cool thing about the game is that when you attack with that spirit, you do damage based on the element. So some enemies are weak to elements, some of them totally resist them. Some of them are different one way or the other. So there's a lot of strategy you're swapping between them to try to fight to do the most damage. Now, here's some of my gripes with the game because it is really fun. I do like it. The challenge is really interesting. You can't just stock up on healing stuff and then spam them to heal. Like there's actual like strategy involved here. I've leveled up like 7 times, and I don't think the level is making a difference for me because I still feel like enemies take the same amount of hits to damage as they do.
Hmm.
The thing I want to level up is my spirits, obviously, so that way, like, again, it's like Cave Story, so the level's constantly changing. If you get hit, it's really easy to get it back to max, but keeping it at max is trickier, and you're gonna have a harder time to get hit. You drop it down to a lower level because you got to work that back up again. But your character can level up independently too. I'm on like level 7, and I don't notice a difference, at least from the earlier enemies. The amount of damage I do now, the only noticeable damage difference I noticed was from my spirits being leveled up.
Is there like a
But here,
are there like attributes you have to put points into?
no, no, not at all. At least not that I noticed. Um, and the game tells you a lot of stuff, so it didn't tell me there are any attributes. So if I missed it, that's my bad. But the game literally tells you everything, and I didn't tell me anything like that when I leveled up. I don't even think my HP went up because like I found like I found a collectible that increased my HP and it brought my HP from 100 to 110. It's been like that since level 7. So I don't know. Maybe like the damage I take was reduced. I don't know, but I didn't notice myself doing more damage with my character level. Um, Now here's some of my gripes with the game. Um, this game was made by, I think it was like one person or a small team, and it's definitely noticeable on a couple technical aspects. One big one is that when the game tells you the controls, even if you have a controller equipped, it tells you the keyboard prompts, not the actual controller prompt.
Uh,
So that's really frustrating. Because whenever it tells me something, I have to like memorize like, oh, X on the keyboard is my attack button, and my attack button is here's where it gets fucked up too. The controller layout is fucking garbage. Um, this is a Metroidvania. It's meant to be modeled after Symphony of the Night and Castlevania more closely than like Metroid. holding an Xbox controller, what do you think the jump button is
Be the A
in this
button,
type of
yeah.
game? No, that's the attack button in this game. By default, A is the attack button. X is the jump button. B is pulling out your bow and arrow,
X is the
which
jump button.
is yeah, it's fucking weird, dude. I wrote it down but no, by default in this game, okay, so B is the jump button by default, and the attack
Okay.
button's A, which still feels fucking weird. I don't like it. So
That's
immediately I went
Nintendo
in,
shit.
changed the controls. Yeah, immediately went in and changed the controls. So, okay, so A is gonna be my jump button, X is gonna be my attack button. I made B my magic button, and that was a fucking mistake, because I'll tell you why in a minute. Um, but the arrow was one of the face buttons. I think it was the B button, or no, the jump was the B button. I think arrow was the Y button. Point is, like, you have your you can cast magic spells, attack, jump, and use your bow and arrow, and they're all in the face buttons, and they're fucking. It's dumb the way they're set up, because when you pull out your arrow, you're actually aiming with the left stick, and it feels so weird having that, using a range attack for that. So I switched that to the right trigger. But here's the dumb thing. I switched my magic to the B button because it made sense to me. Like, if I'm gonna jump with A, attack with X, use my arrow with the right trigger, I'm gonna put magic on B. That's what sounded comfortable to me. That was a fucking mistake, because anytime I backed out, because you hit the B button to back out when you're in your menu, for some reason the game registered that as an input, and anytime I backed out of the menu, I would cast a spell and use up MP. It did it like 3 times, like twice in the menu, and another time a message came up and I picked B to back out. Like a tutorial came up, I pushed B to back out of it, and then I cast a spell. And I was like, okay, this sucks. I gotta fucking change that now. So that's the thing, because I changed all the controls like immediately. I wonder if, because B was originally the jump button, so would I just be jumping every time I backed out of the menu? That's fucking ridiculous. um, but yeah, so like there's a couple technical issues that are like really silly that you have to kind of fuck around with. And you'll see it. Try the game out. It's pretty fun. It's on Game Pass, and I'm definitely giving it more shit than it deserves at some points. But fucking, if you're playing on a controller, man, fucking go into those controls, set them up, because it's fucking weird the way they have it set up.
Yeah.
And don't set your magic to the B button, because if you back out of the menu, you're gonna cast a spell after you do it.
Guy, this YouTube video. Shouts out to Indie James. He's got a full playthrough up that is 3 hours and 39 minutes. So I assume that this game isn't very long.
It's pretty fun. I got a lot of time in. I got quite a bit of time into it, just like exploring. Oh, there's a really cool system with the bow and arrows too, because with your bow and arrow, you hold it to string it, and then when you let go, you fire. And while you're doing that, you can move in any direction. You can move, and kind of strafe back and forth and aim up and down. And if you tap the dash button, because it has a back dash, if you double tap that, you'll switch directions. So that's pretty cool. And there's some puzzles, because you can ricochet the bow and the arrow off of stuff. So there's some puzzles where you're bouncing it off of walls to like cut a string to open a door. And that flying ability I told you with the wind spirit, you can actually combine that with the bow and arrow, and that can lead to some pretty interesting platforming and interesting puzzles. So there's some cool ideas here that I really like. But be warned, like, there's some technical issues at the beginning, especially with the control and the way it's laid out. It's not a perfect experience initially, but if you can grit your teeth and get through that, I think there's a special game here. I'll probably play more of it and have more of an opinion next week. If it's that short, I'll probably have it finished by like next podcast, but it's pretty dope from what I've been playing. I do like what I'm playing through so far. Um, Technical issues aside, it's a pretty fun game. We also got Transformers Battlegrounds is also coming, cloud console and PC. So check those out. All these games here are worth at least checking out if you have Game Pass. We also got a look at the Indie World Showcase that had just premiered December 15th, so about 3 days ago. We got to look at quite a few games, dude. Mostly indie games have been were announced. Sea of Stars set to come out holiday 2022 on Switch. Alicia, the Oblivion of the Twin Goddess, spring 2022. There's some interesting games here. There's quite a few to go through, so if you want to get a full list, check out the podcast notes. But there's a couple that stood out to me that I really want to get into. But what about you, Wasabi? Is there anything that caught your eye that you really want to talk about?
Um, nope.
Nope.
My bad. You fucked up this. You fucked up this doc. I was trying to
I
figure
did.
out. Well, someone did. Like, it's put a header on every one of these pages.
Yeah, I noticed that. I thought you did that. I don't
Oh.
know where that came from. Um, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's what we're doing now. Okay. I just ignored it. But yeah, there's some cool interesting games here. A couple games that have already been out on PC are set to come out. River City Girls 2 was one that I was really excited for. I love the first River City Girls. Got to go back and finish it. And we got to look at River City Girls 2 on Switch, which is cool. I pretty much figured it would be coming to Switch. Like it makes sense it would be coming to Switch.
Yeah.
And it was cool. They got to show off kind of a bit of extended gameplay with this Switch announcement too. So I'm really excited to see that. So new gameplay, two-player co-op. Looks like there's some. I really like what I'm looking at here. I love River City Girls. I'm definitely gonna pick this one up. New moves, new techniques. I saw this bit where like one of the girls like grabbed a bad guy and the other girl like punched the fuck out of him. That was cool. I love seeing that. Some new playable characters too are in the game, so that's really nice to see. All in all, it looks like a big improvement over what we saw in River City Girls. And as far as I know, this is the most extended gameplay we've seen of it so far since it was announced. So that was really cool, really exciting for me. We also got announcement that Don't Starve Together is coming out on Switch, which pretty big deal. I mean, Don't Starve was a really big game, a big indie game on PC. Don't Starve Together. I don't know if that came out yet on on PC,
It
but I
did.
know
It's been
that
out for a
it
while.
did. It's been out
I
for a while, so
hate
it's
this
cool.
game.
You hate Don't Starve?
It's so difficult, man. Like, it's hard to get into as a newcomer and enjoy
I've
yourself.
never played it, so I have no idea.
It's hard as
Um,
fuck. It's
I've
so
never played
difficult
it.
when the fucking like when your lights go out and you're in the darkness, you're fucked. Like it's difficult.
Oh well. I mean, if like Wasabi, you don't like it, then fuck that game. But
It's not that I don't like it. It's just that it's very punishing to a point where
yeah.
it's like not fun.
Well,
But
it's coming out on Switch, so it sounds a roguelikes are like perfect for Switch. At least I think so.
yeah,
Um, we also got Grime. It's coming out on Switch too. If you guys remember, Wasabi played that on the demo derby. Well,
I
tried to
tried
play
to
it.
play. Yeah, it fucked up like right in the beginning. I couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. But I've heard good things about Grime since it was announced. So that might be a fun game. A Metroidvania platformer with Souls elements. Like, yeah, that sounds perfect for Switch. But there's a couple cool things announced too that look really interesting. But the biggest one that they actually closed the show with was Amori is coming to Switch as well. Um, those of you who don't know, Amori came out last year, I want to say. Yeah, Christmas of 2020. So almost a year ago it had come out. It's been in Kickstarter forever. I remember I was still working at I think Best Buy back in like 2015, 2014 when this game got announced or when the Kickstarter went live. Um, so this game has been in development forever. It came out to very, very positive reception last year. It's a kind of silly RPG. Think of it like like Paper Mario, but there are some very dark elements underneath it. Kind of think of it like Undertale a little bit. I don't like comparing every game to Undertale, but for the sake of like simplicity, let's say it's like Undertale. With some Paper Mario combat with a very dark story underneath it. I've read reviews on it. I've heard a lot of things about it. I kind of spoiled it for myself, so I'm a little upset that I won't get to play this game fresh, but there's some cool stuff here. And up until now, the console announcements haven't been made for the game yet. So it is really cool that we got announcements coming on Switch spring 2022, and nothing has been announced for PlayStation, Xbox, at least not yet. So I guess we got an exclusive console announcement for a more, at least for the time being. Um, but yeah, those are some of the main highlights I wanted to hit on. Obviously, there's more stuff in here if you guys want to check it out in the notes. Definitely check it out. The video's only like 25 minutes long, so check it out. There's some cool stuff in here that's worth looking into. Um, and some quickie news, we got a Splinter Cell remake, just started development, at least according to Ubisoft Toronto. I'm not a Splinter Cell guy. I never played any of the Splinter Cell games, but I know you're a big Splinter Cell fan, right?
Not not really. I just
So it
really
was just
liked.
that mode.
Well, there were two modes that I spent the most time with. There was the Mercs versus Spies mode, which that Spectre game looks like it's remaking that like
Yeah.
very faithfully. So I don't know if they're gonna do that with this, but hopefully they do, and we'll get some more of that. But it had a co-op mode. You can do the entire campaign. No, I think it had like a separate co-op dedicated campaign that you could do with a friend, and that was all I played. I played the co-op mode with my dude, uh, Dontrell, and and then me and my brother would play the Mercs versus Spies. Um, uh, yeah, that was all I played. I hated the campaign. I hate that game for like because it wasn't like it's not like a Metal Gear where you actually have options. You can kind of tackle things however you want. It was like rigidly, strictly, no fucking don't get seen or you're fucked, and I just don't
Yeah.
like that. So
So that's a bummer. But
yeah,
I mean, a lot of people have been excited for this game forever. I think the last game we got was like Blacklist in like what 2013.
yeah, and those games were more action oriented. You could actually just go and shoot motherfuckers if you wanted to in those ones, which was a bit more fun in my opinion, but was not what Splinter Cell was about.
Yeah, and there's a lot of complaints about that. That's why I haven't seen a Splinter Cell game since 2013. So hopefully, with this remake, we can get something cool. I would love to see another open world stealth game, kind of like Phantom Pain. Controversial opinion, I
Yeah,
thought Phantom Pain was fucking excellent. And it
best.
bums me out
Yeah.
the game was so heavily just like unfinished.
The thing about
Fuck.
this Splinter Cell remake, people, I don't, I guess people just didn't read the fucking shit here, but they keep speculating that, oh, what if it's open world? They already said, they say, if you read this article that Ubisoft put out, they said it's not gonna be open world. It's gonna be right here. It says we're going to keep it linear, like the original games, not make it open world.
That's a
I don't.
huge bummer because like I love Phantom Pain and I haven't gotten an experience quite like that since.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I said, it's not that Splinter Cell's never been like an options oriented game. It's always been like, you're gonna play it this way. Don't get seen, don't get caught, or you're fucked. Like that's what those games have been. I don't think they can kind of do that transition like Metal Gear did.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. Hopefully they'll have a bit more freedom even in like the linear sections because
Yeah,
Hitman is kind of a linear level based game, but there's some options in how you can like tackle each like
yeah,
objective.
yeah,
So I just want some freedom, man. I want to play. I want freedom in how I tackle a problem. Some of my best experiences, a little tangent here, but in Phantom Pain was just having a plan and not going the way I planned it out, but still improvising my way out of the situation. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like you
Like I
go in with a
love shit like that.
plan, and as soon as your plan gets fucked, you're like, well, I guess we're gonna improvise here.
I had this great moment. I'm going to talk about some really cool game experience that solidified Phantom Pain as like one of my favorite games. I had this objective to go in, get this dude, and get out. Okay, that was my objective. And I was like, cool. I tagged up a bunch of guards. I learned routes. I was like, okay, cool. I'm ready to go in, get this dude, be like a fucking ghost. Go in, get him, get out. Nobody's the wiser, right? Within like a minute of me like setting foot in the base, a fucking car that I didn't know was in the area, like rolled up on me and caught me. And I did that slow motion thing, where I got caught. But I can't
Yeah.
just use I can't use a silenced pistol to take out this guy because there's like a dude driving, a dude in the passenger seat, a dude like in the back. But I can't trank all these dudes in that time. So I pulled out my machine gun, gunned them all down, and suddenly alarms are going off, people are rushing. So I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm like, I could start over or I can just try to make this work. So I threw a bunch of C4 on the car because I was still far enough away that no other guards saw me. They just heard gunshots, and the guys couldn't radio in. So I was like, okay, cool. So I put a bunch of C4 on the car, took another route all the way around the facility because a bunch of guards were pouring out. So now all those guards that were guarding the place aren't there anymore because they're all pouring out to see where those gunshots came from. And halfway through that, I set the C4 off. That blows up the car, raises the alarm some more, but now more guards are pouring out to see what's going on. In the confusion, I was able to rush in, grab my guy, and get out.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, this game is fucking amazing. I've never had an experience like that since, except maybe
When you
playing Breath of the Wild.
mentioned that slow mo thing, it reminded me
Yeah.
that I played that game a little differently because I disabled all of the assists
Oh, yeah?
so I could play it like a real Metal Gear game because I don't know, I thought that slow mo shit was bullshit. I thought
I thought
like
it was cool. I loved it.
the whole detection thing where like if someone's looking at you, it shows you exactly where they are, or it gives you all this information that you wouldn't normally have if you were playing a real Metal Gear game. So I turned all that off and played it like a real Metal Gear game, and that made me take at least like 10 times longer to finish it than it should
Yeah.
have taken. But I don't know. I think I enjoyed it more that way.
I might try it again like that. I've been meaning to like have an excuse to replay it, and that would be a fun way to check it out. But little
Yeah,
things like that, like I've never had a game give me that much freedom to like tackle my options. Except maybe Breath of the Wild when that came out.
yeah.
And I would love another experience like that.
And
But I
that's
mean,
what
we'll wait and
sucks is
see.
that see the thing about Breath of the Wild is that we're definitely getting another Breath of the Wild. So whatever they didn't do well in that first one, they can do even better in the next one. But it sucks that Metal Gear is that like they have so much room for improvement there, and we're never gonna see it because
Yeah,
the
dude, it sucks. It sucks. Phantom Pain was so fucking good.
yeah,
The gameplay was so good, and it bums me out that like we're just gonna scrap it. Like, oh, we're done. We're gonna make a shitty survival game, and that's it. Like, no, do something else. Even if it's not another Metal Gear game, like do
yeah,
something with that concept. That's such a cool concept. Do something with it. Um, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully something comes out, but I don't doubt Konami's gonna do anything. And the Splinter Cell remake, even though it's level based, I hope there's enough freedom in every level that I can kind of tackle the game the way you want.
yeah. I
We'll
think
wait and see.
Hitman would be a good uh, middle ground between like a full open world and like a full linear game.
I gotta play Hitman. I need to play Hitman already. I've been
It's good.
told like it's gonna
Got
it's gonna it's not gonna completely scratch that itch I wanted that Phantom Pain's leaving, but it's gonna like
no, I think it will.
go.
I think it will. I think it does.
The first Hitman is I just remembered I got Hitman the first one free on Epic, so I think I'll download that.
Yeah, it scratches that itch. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I have it on Epic. I'm downloading it right now. I'm downloading it right now. Yeah. We also got a Valkyrie Entertainment joined PlayStation Studios. Remind me what they did. They were just like a subsidiary that kind of just worked on whatever project came their way, right? They weren't like a full on
yeah.
developer, right?
I think they were just like an assist developer. Like they kind of um,
Like a
the bigger
temp that
devs
just
send them stuff to work on, and they'll work on some small stuff and then send it back. Um, is what I understand. I don't think they've ever done anything completely on their own. So
yeah. I know they worked with Santa Monica to for God of War. So, they
yeah,
have some chops there. And now they're joining PlayStation Studios as a full on developer. So I mean we'll see if they'll get their own game or they'll just be more like that kind of middle developer that just kind of helps out any project that needs it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but we'll see. 10 Cent acquired Turtle Rock Studios. The Back for Blood developers. We got 10 Cent bought them out.
crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Turtle Rock is a American studio, right? Out of California.
I think so. So
Yeah, so it's weird to me that Tencent's buying them out, but we'll see what happens, man. I mean,
yeah.
we'll see what they make them do. Also, another fun little quickie. We got Pornhub's 2021 year in review. There's a lot of
Yeah.
fun data here, man. There's a lot of fun data here. I love looking at just data like this. It's fun. It's fun. You look at it and you're like, huh, those are interesting numbers. Um, Very funny things like hentai was the #1 search on Pornhub, surpassing even Japanese and lesbian, which is funny because I think
Well,
last
I
year, like
was focused on
lesbian.
more. They have a video game specific section.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I want to talk
That's
about
what
some
I
of the other
was.
stuff. Like it's really funny. There's so much stuff here they wouldn't think was on top, but yeah, they have the most searched video games. Not only do they show you like what's at the top, but they also show like rankings, like what's fallen, what's risen,
Yeah.
and Fortnite is #1 right now, which is surprising. It was #1 last year. And what's funny is Minecraft is second place, where last year Minecraft was what, fourth place, and Overwatch was second.
Yeah.
And then behind Minecraft, we got Overwatch at third, Pokemon at fourth place, again dropped down from third last year, and Brawl Stars made it in the top five at fifth place. I didn't know what Brawl Stars was, so
Yeah, I
I
don't think
looked
I
it
know what
up.
that is.
Yeah, so I'm looking it up. Is that the what is that? Hold on. Oh, it's a MOBA,
Oh.
kind of. It's like a what is this? I've never fucking heard of this. It's like a 3v3 MOBA with battle royale elements.
Okay.
These characters look like
But like,
children, so I don't know if I like that this is like the fifth.
uh, well, it's weird because like Minecraft, like what do you like? What Minecraft shit exist? Like, I'm just curious to kind of look some of this up and be like, okay, that's what Minecraft porn is. Okay, like Overwatch,
What's
I know.
funny What's funny is that Minecraft has jumped up like two places over
Yeah,
Overwatch and Pokemon. Like, what?
like Among Us isn't in here. Like, what the fuck is Among Us porn? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like parody stuff, but if it's
Maybe.
that high in the thing, there's got to be a lot of it. Like Five Nights at Freddy's is in there. Genshin, of course, would be in there.
Yeah, Genshin and
Apex, of
Five Nights at Freddy's are
course.
in the top 10.
Like Roblox is a weird one.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, of
Which
course.
which is crazy because we look at the top 10. There's some obvious names in there, Mine like Fortnite, Overwatch, Pokemon. But then you look at like Minecraft, Brawl Stars, Among Us, FNAF.
Well,
Like
Fortnite
Genshin
is
Impact
weird.
makes sense.
Fortnite is weird to me because Fortnite doesn't really have characters. I mean, I guess it does, but like if you're looking for Fortnite porn, what exactly are you looking for? Is like that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like yeah, Fortnite's a popular game, but are there any characters in there that you can like, oh yeah, I want to see her get fucked?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I
Now
just
that
don't.
you bring it up, like, yeah, that's something I don't understand either. That's really weird. Like
Like
Overwatch, I
Overwatch,
get it.
definitely. Pokemon, sure.
Yeah, Genshin Impact for sure.
Oh yeah, of course.
But
But that
like,
low
yeah,
is
but like
ridiculous.
Roblox? Yeah, but Roblox? Again,
Yeah,
look at top
Roblox.
10. Like Roblox is in there, Among Us, FNAF. Resident Evil is below Roblox, which has more recognizable characters. So you'd think like
Yeah.
those are the characters people want to see get fucked. And I don't know, man. Like if you look at all the games that have recognizable stuff, like Roblox, like Resident Evil, GTA 5, Dragon Ball Z, League of Legends, Mortal Kombat, Final Fantasy, like those are all like not in the top 10. They're like in the top 20. Like it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me to see this. Like it's really interesting. When you look up like most searched video game characters, like which is the very next slide, like Laura Croft is #1, which I'm not surprised. We got some new games coming out. They just had a new game last year. Diva, second place. Overwatch, again, not surprised. But Super Mario is number 3. Not Peach, but Mario. That's a
Yeah,
trip.
I think it's weird. Like Lara Croft is like, yeah, she's hot, but like I don't know if like people know like that's like I'm thinking of the year 2021. Who are the characters that I know? Like it'd be Lady Demestru. Like she's not even in this list.
Yeah, dude.
Like
Yeah,
that's the
dude.
character
Abby
I'm
from
thinking
Last
of.
of Us is in this list, and
Yeah,
not Lady Demiscu or Demiscu. Um, what's interesting to me is you look at all of this whole list.
Tiny Tina is in this list.
Yeah, Tiny Tina's on this list, which is weird and gross. But if you look
Well,
at this
because
list,
Tiny Tina in the movie, that's in the movie Tiny Tina is Ariana Grande.
oh geez,
Yeah.
that might be interesting. But look at this, like if you look lower, like Skyrim has an Argonian, like the lizard people. Jules from Fortnite is also there towards the bottom. Who is Jules?
I think Jules is the default female in Fortnite. I think that's who that is.
Oh yeah,
But I could be wrong. That's the only character I know. She's the one with like the green tank top and like the combat boots.
she's
I
got
think
like
that's her.
pigtails. I don't know who this is, but
Maybe that's not her. Maybe. Okay.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But it's,
That
it's
when I think of
super interesting to
Fortnite,
see this data.
yeah.
What's what's funny to me is that Ashley Graham from Mass Effect is on this list. And she's the only Mass Effect character on here, which is interesting because she's probably in the Mass Effect community, she's like the least popular love interest in the Mass Effect community, but she's the only one making it in this list of like top search like video game characters for porn,
That's what I'm
which is
thinking.
interesting
Like
to me.
these searches are not. I'm wondering who is searching these things. It can't be
Yeah.
because Lara Croft to me, like in the '90s, sure, but 2021, no one's thinking about Tomb Raider like that anymore. And if you are, well, you're just like you're playing the game, but you're not
Yeah, I
really.
did.
I don't know.
I would love to have seen like because like how they did with the most searched video games, how they had like the ranking, like you saw the rank change. I would love to see that for video game characters to
Yeah.
see like what's changed since then. Because there's a couple names like Diva's not going anywhere, but it's crazy to me that Jill Valentine's still the most searched character. When you said late for Resident Evil, when like you said Lady Demiscu, you think would be getting the most attention now. What's interesting is that if you look at this character list, fucking Pikachu's on here, which is weird as shit. Pikachu's above Gardevoir,
But like
which
most of the list is stuff that was like popular in the '90s that were big names, and like Chun Li, Tifa Lockhart, like Bowser,
well,
Katana.
Bowsette, not Bowser, Bowsette,
Well, they're
which is a
both in the
meme.
list, but
Are they? I don't see
yeah,
Bowser. Where's Bowser?
Bowser's low.
Oh, Bowser is in there.
Yeah,
How
or like
funny is it that the
Misty from
only
Pokemon. Like a
yeah
lot of these names are like super old. They're not really relevant as much today as they were like way back. So
yeah, but if
I'm
you look
curious.
at the search bar, like how much they were searched, like when you look at the top 5, there's some pretty big numbers there, and then it starts to drop off substantially. And when you get to like the last like bottom like what 10, they're very close in terms of numbers, but they're still a lot lower than like anything above them. So maybe these are just like residual to people who are just like super into that character from like forever ago. We're gonna look up porn of this character like all the time. A consistent fan base that's not going anywhere. Um, but what's interesting to me is that like they're all women, obviously, except for a couple characters, Mario, Link, Bowser, only ones on here that are like exclusively men, and they're all from Nintendo. So that's interesting to me. Peach isn't on here, but Bowsette, a meme, is on here. Um, Super interesting to me. I don't know why I find it so interesting, but these numbers are hilarious.
Yeah.
There's a lot more on here if you want to look at like more specific stuff, like traffic and hourly traffic during the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp outage. It's really fun stuff to like look at here. If you want to play around with the data, look at it. It's really fun looking at. Even each country has like specific like search terms. But the video game stuff, super interesting to me to see like, what's popular right now, what's not popular.
I think Argonian
Like
is weird for Skyrim, especially since like Skyrim just has porn mods. It just has fuck mods. I mean, you can just load that game up and do all of your fantasies within the game. But
maybe, but if you don't have a computer, you can probably just watch like
that game's on
those
Switch.
mods.
I mean, if you really want, if you really want to fuck that game up, you could do it on everything. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, but Argonian is weird specifically. Uh,
Yeah. That's why when I saw like in the list, because like Skyrim was on there, it wasn't in the top 10, but it was on there for most search games. I was like, who's searching up Skyrim stuff? And when I saw Argonian was like one of the most searched like characters, I was like, okay, that makes sense. There's a lot of Argonian fetishism, I guess.
well, there's a book in the game called "The Lusty Argonian Maid."
Oh, I remember that. And I guess
So,
like I thought that was just like a meme, but I guess like there is like some legit like
oh yeah, it's in
interest in
there.
Argonian porn.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, that's really funny to me. If you guys want to check it out, like it's in the show notes. If you want to see the year, there's a lot of interesting data in here that I think is really funny. Yeah, moving on. We are a video game podcast, so if that's the video game stuff that we're done talking about with Pornhub, we're moving on. We got some trailers and videos, man. We got Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. It's got a teaser trailer. That's coming out 2022 for PS4, PS5, PC. The link is not fucking working. I don't know what's going on with my computer. It's
works.
not working
This
for
game
me. I
looks
think my
good.
computer's fucking up.
I don't know shit about Grand Blue Fantasy other than it started out as a mobile game. I think it's a gotcha game, and then they made a fighting game, and that
I remember that.
was pretty well received. And now this is like a RPG ass RPG, and it looks dope as fuck. Almost reminds me of Final Fantasy 12, just from like the look and feel of it. But
I'm gonna, like
I don't.
see it. Oh, it just finished loading. Cool.
I,
Oh, this looks. It does look a little bit Final Fantasy 12, but is the combat more like action focused? I'm seeing like air juggling and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so it kind of reminds me of like Bayonetta a little bit. Oh, I think I heard of this. Wasn't like Platinum working on a Grand Blue Fantasy game or making that up?
I don't think so. Well, there was the fighting game that someone did, but
Yeah, the Arc System works there, but I could have sworn that like okay, so they were working on a Grand Blue Fantasy action RPG, but they were replaced by side games in 2019.
uh,
I remember hearing about this and like being interested in the game, not because like I'm into Grand Blue Fantasy, but because like Platinum was working on it. But now that they're not working on it, I don't know if I'm interested anymore.
I mean, it still looks good. I
Looks
just don't
cool,
know.
but
I think Side Games is known for some gotcha shit, so who knows? These guys might be trying to get in on that Genshin money, which this
maybe
looks way better than Genshin. I'll say that off top.
it does. But if we want to be honest here, like Tales of Arise just came out. And it's a very similar game, but Tales of Arise
Yeah,
looks way better than even this. So
yeah. I need to play that. That's gonna be the
I
one
do
I play,
too.
I think.
I do too. My buddy, my old co-host Jimmy, who I was doing a retro bike with forever ago. I still see him on Steam every once in a while, and he has like 200 hours in that fucking game.
Shit. Get him on. I'm gonna talk
It's like
about it.
insane, dude. He's got so much time in that game for sure. I should hit him up, see what he's doing if he wants to be on the show. Um, but yeah, we got that looks really cool. I really like action RPGs a lot, so this looks like it'll be a lot of fun. But if I had to choose between that and like Tales of Arise looks way better. They're not the same game, but similar ideas. We also got a reveal trailer for Sniper Elite 5. I didn't
Um,
know they're still making these games, if I'm being honest.
They are, and it looks like a sniper elite game to me. I don't know. There's nothing too crazy going on here. It's just it looks like one of those.
I think the last one was trying to be like open world, right? Like
Yeah,
I don't know how well I did that though. Or whatever. I mean, it's another Sniper Elite game. Like if you played them, this is another one. If you're a big fan of them, we got this next one coming out in 2022 for everything but Switch. So that'll be cool to check out. And an unexpected trailer, we got Assassin's Creed crossover stories, which
yeah.
is a crossover story featuring the characters from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the one set in not Odyssey, sorry, it was Assassin's Creed. Yeah, it was Odyssey, the one
It's
set in
Odyssey.
Greece. Yeah, and then Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the one set with Vikings and shit. But what's interesting is that it's two different DLC stories for each individual game,
Yeah,
which is interesting. It would have been so easy just Valhalla's the newest game, make a crossover story for that game. But no, they're going back to Odyssey and putting this extra story into it. So you get it from Cassandra, the Odyssey character's perspective, and what's her name from Valhalla.
Ivor.
Yeah,
Now
Ivor.
the thing about Odyssey is that most players actually did not pick Cassandra. They picked the male character,
Which is
Alexios, I think his name
funny.
was.
Yeah,
Uh,
Alexios, which is funny because I've been told that like Cassandra is like the best one out of the two.
yeah. So it's weird that they're like, I don't know what they're gonna do if that was your character. They're just gonna force you to play as her. I don't know, but
The way
uh,
it sounds like they might be like just connecting the games together. So it could just be whoever like you play it as. There might be like a save carry system. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
yeah,
But we got this announcement here that this was happening, and it's interesting for me to see that coming out.
yeah. Reinstall all 80 gigs of Odyssey just for this DLC.
I've heard Odyssey was good, and like I've never played it,
Yeah,
but I've heard good things about it.
it's good, but it's long. It's the same
Yeah,
for
Valhalla.
yeah, same for Valhalla. Like I played it, it reinvigorated my love for Assassin's Creed. I was like, yeah, this is great, but it's fucking
It's
long.
long as fuck. Yep, long as fuck.
So
Um, we also got a look at Horizon Forbidden West, Machines of the Forbidden West. We got just basically a look at some of the monsters and the machines you'll be fighting and interacting with.
they should have
It looks cool.
this is what they should have shown during the Game Awards. They should have shown all of
Yeah,
these during the Game Awards, to be honest, but
yeah, I
for
agree.
whatever reason, they didn't.
Yeah, I agree. There's some cool stuff in here. I mean, you've played Horizon, like this is more of that.
Yeah.
Not something I was like really caring for. I played the first Horizon, it was okay. I want to go back and finish it, but I can't find the energy to do it. It didn't like
Just
grab me as much as like I seem to grab everybody else.
just set it to easy mode like I did, story mode, and just breeze through it. That's the best way to do it. What's
No,
up,
no, I
Daisy
wasn't.
Hicks? Is in the chat. Says Hoy
What's up?
Voy, FYI. That might be a bot.
Oh, hi Daisy. If you're a bot, go fuck yourself. But if you're not, welcome to the
Something I
show.
noticed about YouTube is first and last name on YouTube. I don't know why. That's a little weird to me.
Yeah, it's super weird. They tried to do that with me, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. um,
Horizon looks dope
but
though.
yeah, Horizon looks dope, but I don't know. I couldn't get myself to finish the first one. I don't know if I'm gonna do the same thing with this one, but we'll see. It's coming out on PS4 and PS5. I might just wait till they inevitably release it on PC, but we'll
Yep.
see. We also got Chocobo GP is releasing March 10th, 2022. That is my birthday, actually, March 10th.
Ooh.
So I'm not gonna buy this game though. If I have to play this game for my birthday, it's gonna be a bad birthday. Um,
I it looks almost exactly like Mario Kart. So
it
like some of the I think I
does.
said this when we first saw it too. Like some of this stuff looks like it was taken straight out of Mario Kart and just given a different skin because some of
Yeah,
like the
it doesn't
track
have like a
layouts.
Final Fantasy like identity, which is kind of driving me nuts. Like,
Yeah.
which it's interesting because like if you look at like other kart racers, you could argue like, oh well, any kart racer look at Mario Kart. Like, no, because Sonic All Star Racing looks like Sonic. It looks like a Sonic game. Like I won't
Yeah.
get that confused with Mario Kart. Same with the Crash Bandicoot racing game. I won't get that confused with Mario Kart. But this, like, it's like trying really hard not to be a kart racer, but to be Mario Kart.
It's not that it looks like Mario Kart. It's not. How am I trying to say this? What I'm trying to say is that the track design and the animations and the way the camera moves and the speeds traps on the ground, like everything looks like it was pulled straight from Mario Kart and then given a skin to kind of Final Fantasy eyes it a little bit. But I
Yeah, like a
swear,
Final Fantasy mod for Mario Kart or something. Like
yeah, it looks like a
it's
mod.
yeah, which is
It's
super weird to me. It's like, see, I know exactly what you mean. Like I said, like you play any other kart racer, like Sonic or Crash Bandicoot, and it looks like its own thing. But this is like very
yeah,
clearly trying not to be a kart racer. It's not trying to be a Final Fantasy kart racer. It feels like it's trying to be like Mario Kart Final Fantasy characters.
yeah. That's not a bad thing. I
It's not
like
a bad
Mario Kart.
thing.
I like those
Me
tracks,
too.
so I'm sure it's gonna be fun. But it's just crazy how much it just makes me want to play just Mario Kart instead.
Yeah, exactly. We also got a launch trailer for Pray for the Gods. Looks cool. You talked about it.
Yep, this is what convinced me to buy the game. I was like, "Are you telling me this is a fucking indie Shadow of the Colossus mixed with Breath of the Wild?" And the trailer said yes, and I was like, "Okay, it's
Yeah, it
great."
looks really cool. Yeah, I want to check it out now. You're convincing me to go check it out. Maybe after all my Christmas shopping and shit's done, if I have some money left over.
Yeah,
Um, we also got a trailer for Dead by Daylight. Ringu, um, from the Ring, having a little
yeah,
crossover. Which looks interesting to see. Like Dead by Daylight should just do more of these horror movie crossovers. Like instead of like making your own game, just hit up Dead by Daylight and do a crossover with them.
yeah,
Like they've already done it with like Hellraiser. Um, God, what else? The Ring, Hellraiser. I think Pumpkinhead was in here too. I gotta look back at it. But they've done a ton of crossovers, and it's really cool to see that still going. But yeah, the Ring is interesting. Ringu is interesting, so it'll be cool to see that. I'm not surprised it's happening, and I'm kind of impressed. I want to see what that looks like. I gotta buckle down, and just play Dead by Daylight already. I've heard good things about it.
it's yeah. I don't. I played a little bit. I had a friend who's into it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll jump on with you," and like, it's uh okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It's not what you. It's not what you expect
Yeah.
unless you're expecting like I don't know. It's just you running around as as a survivor trying to get like
Yeah.
generators going, and then a thing chases you from some horror thing.
Well,
And
what's cool is that like I'm a big horror movie buff, so like seeing stuff like that, seeing recognizable characters, that's enough to like get me interested in it.
okay,
What's cool with this like Ring crossover, and I keep saying Ring, but it's Ringu that they're crossing over with. Which what's the difference? Well, Ringu is the original Japanese movie. This
yeah,
is the Ring with Sarah Michelle Gellar. This is Ringu, the original stories that they're basing it off of. So slight difference there, but it's cool to me to see that they're honoring the original source material, and not the remake or the American remake that we got. I haven't seen either one. Honestly, I'm not super into like those Japanese horror movies, if I'm being honest. So I didn't check out either
yeah.
one, but I've heard Ringu's really good.
I get this mixed up with The Grudge a lot.
Yeah, there's a reason for that because like, during like early 2000s, like I think it was The Ring did so well that Hollywood just started copying any like Japanese horror movie that had come out in the last like 15 years.
Okay.
And where each like horror movie had their own distinct characters and designs. Like they just kind of copy pasted a lot of them over when that Americanized. So stories like Ringu, The Grudge, One Missed Call, they all just like copied and pasted similar designs over, even though they were more distinct in the original source material. Maybe not aesthetically too much, but in terms of like backstory, there were some differences that they didn't really catch in the way they Americanized them. Oh, that's a conversation for another day. We're a video game podcast. Um, but yeah, so there's some horror movie history for you guys there. All two of you that care about when I talk about horror movies. Um, yeah, that's gonna be it for the show, man. That's all. That's everything. Thank you everybody that came in to listen. Sabi, tell the people where they can find us, man.
Guys, you can go to Gameoverse.com. Gameoverse.com/Twitch, Gameoverse.com/YouTube, Gameoverse.com/Discord. Jump in there, chat with us. We chat back, guys. We're always having some interesting conversations. Let us know what you think about the whole black characters and black creators thing. I think it's an interesting little topic to spark some discussion there. But
yeah, for sure. We get enough feedback on it in the Discord. We might get a second part on the next podcast. So
yeah,
you guys got opinions that we didn't consider, let us know. I'd love to talk about it.
And I'm gonna be playing more Praey For The Gods. I'm playing more. I'm gonna finish Psychonauts. I'm gonna dip back into Deathloop. And yeah, just video games always happening. So if you want us to check out something specific, let us know. We might do that as well. So that's gonna do it.
Thank you, everybody.